And so today's decision, if anything, is LeBron James making it clear that he wants to go play his 24th and potentially 25th season in Philadelphia because he believes the Sixers have a better chance to win a championship. My phone is blowing up with people stunned about this decision for LeBron James because you look at that starting five, it's going to be as formidable, if not the most formidable five in the NBA.
It's official. The decision has been made, and LeBron James is now a member of the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't think any of us have fully processed just how much this shakes up the balance of power in the Eastern Conference.
Him to choose the Philadelphia 76ers, this is a shock among shockers.
So here's where I want to take this. There are a few reasons this move is smarter than it looks on the surface. And there's one thing that could still blow the whole plan apart, and it has nothing to do with LeBron's age. We'll get into all of it. The deal itself, why he picked Philly, whether these pieces actually fit together, and what the betting markets are quietly telling us about this team's real ceiling. I broke down this exact Sixers roster before LeBron ever picked up the phone, so I'm not here just to react to a headline. I want to show you what changed the second his name got added to it, and whether it's enough. A few months ago, the Sixers looked stuck. Their season ended with a second-round sweep at the hands of the Knicks, and it stung even more watching Knicks fans take over the building and celebrate on Philly's home floor. The road ahead didn't look much better either. Joel Embiid and Paul George were locked into massive contracts, which left the front office almost no room to meaningfully upgrade. You could see the ceiling from a mile away. Another solid regular season, another few months of hoping everyone stayed healthy, and another early playoff exit. Then everything changed. It started with the Sixers sending Paul George to the Celtics for Jaylen Brown, the trade that got the whole thing rolling. Then LeBron James, the league's all-time scorer, a 4-time champion, a 22-time All-Star, and a 20-time All-NBA player, chose Philadelphia. He announced he was signing a 2-year, $8 million contract, the veteran minimum for someone with his years of service. In his own words, "I believe I can make the Philadelphia 76ers a championship team, and I'm so excited to energize a new fan base and start this incredible journey one last time." That officially closed the book on his 8-year run with the Lakers, a stretch that gave us the 2020 title, a trip to the Western Conference Finals, and the night he passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to become the league's all-time leading scorer. And heading into his 24th season, he's still producing at a level that makes little sense for his age. Last year, in a reduced role alongside Luka Doncic, he averaged 20.9 points, 7.2 assists, and 6.1 rebounds a night on 51.5% shooting, keeping alive a streak of averaging at least 20 points a game in every season of his career. People around the league say his decision came down to one question: where does he have the best shot at competing for a championship? His answer was Philadelphia. At this stage of his career, that's what fulfillment looks like for him. A real chance to chase another title. And he's convinced the Sixers can give him that. The timing makes it even remarkable. In a little over 2 months, Philadelphia hired Mike Gansey to run basketball operations, and he completely flipped the outlook of the franchise. A team that looked capped out, holding only the 22nd pick and a thin pile of trade assets, somehow rebuilt itself into one of the deepest, most talented rosters in the league, and LeBron was the finishing touch nobody saw coming. How did they pull it off? They recruited aggressively, stayed patient while the bigger pieces took time to fall into place, and kept positioning themselves until the opportunity finally opened up. According to people around the league, Philly won LeBron over by offering the one thing he wanted most, the best realistic chance to win a 5th championship. That belief was enough for him to accept 2 years and $8 million, with a player option on the second season, leaving significant money on the table for one more shot at a title. On paper, the appeal is obvious. A core built around Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, VJ Edgecombe, and LeBron have the makings of one of the scariest offenses in the league. Everyone brings something different, and just as important, the roster is finally built to survive stretches when Embiid is sidelined. It came together in stages. It started quietly with defensive-minded depth like Dean Wade, the kind of move that barely registers. Then came the blockbuster, the trade for Jaylen Brown, handing the Sixers another All-NBA level star. They added Anfernee Simons for scoring punch and brought in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for a 1-year, $3.9 million deal for shooting and perimeter defense. That last move might have flown under the radar, but it matters. Caldwell-Pope is a proven playoff veteran who already won a ring alongside LeBron in the 2020 bubble, and he gives head coach Nick Nurse a reliable 3-and-D wing off the bench. Even before the biggest name arrived, this group already looked like one of the better teams in the East, but the front office wasn't finished. Word is that Embiid, Maxey, and Brown all worked the phones during free agency, personally recruiting LeBron, with Embiid reportedly promising to show up in the best shape of his career. Once the Brown trade became official, Philadelphia reached out to LeBron's camp, confident it finally had a roster good enough to close the deal. And it worked. For a city like Philadelphia, a signing like this lands on a different level entirely. It's the kind of moment where 20 years from now, people will ask each other where they were when LeBron became a Sixer. Moments like that have been rare here. The 1983 championship team led by Julius Erving, Moses Malone, and Maurice Cheeks remains the gold standard. 65 regular season wins and a perfect playoff run. Allen Iverson's 2001 finals appearance became one of the most beloved chapters in franchise history. The 2019 roster was arguably the most talented group of the Embiid era up to that point. Now the 2026-27 Sixers have a real shot at joining that conversation, and honestly, it's been a long time coming. What LeBron brings Embiid is deeper than another star teammate. He brings margin for error. The Sixers are no longer living and dying on whether Embiid can survive an entire postseason. They're more versatile, harder to scout, and a genuine nightmare to game plan against. The best part is that Philadelphia doesn't need a 41-year-old LeBron to drag them through all 82 games. With Maxey, Brown, Edgecombe, and Simons all capable of carrying stretches, the Sixers can manage his minutes and keep him fresh for when it matters most. Where LeBron really moves the needle, though, is as a passer. For all the talent Philadelphia had last season, generating consistent offense was a genuine problem. They finished 29th in the league in assists. The Lakers, even after losing Doncic and playing much of the postseason without a healthy Austin Reeves, still finished 6th among playoff teams in assists per game. That gap is essentially LeBron. There's a reason his usage and assist numbers have sat in the 97th or higher percentile for roughly a quarter century. Few players in history have run a half-court offense the way he does. Maxey is at his best attacking downhill, not manufacturing a play for someone else on every possession. Brown, Embiid, and Edgecombe are all solid connectors, each averaged around 4 assists a night last season, but none of them bend to defense the way LeBron can. Give him spacing and he'll find teammates better shots than they could generate on their own. That's exactly what this roster has been missing. Instead of asking Maxey to manufacture everything, LeBron can turn him loose as a pure scorer. Brown gets cleaner looks. Embiid sees fewer double teams at the elbow. Everyone benefits. None of this clicks overnight, though. Between Maxey, Brown, Embiid, and LeBron, there are a lot of players used to controlling the ball, and Nurse has some difficult rotation decisions ahead. Someone will have to sacrifice. But if there's one player who spent his entire career adapting his role to fit the people around him, it's LeBron. He's as basketball smart as anyone who's ever played, and few stars have reshaped their game as smoothly over 2 decades. The real test won't come in November. It comes in April, May, and possibly June, historically when LeBron shifts into another gear. He's the only player in NBA history to average at least 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists at age 35 or older, and he's done it 4 separate times. Even if his scoring efficiency has dipped slightly, his command over a playoff game on both ends of the floor hasn't gone anywhere. And make no mistake, the road ahead is brutal. The Knicks remain a powerhouse in the East, and now they're the defending champions, meaning Philadelphia has to go through the very team that swept them and celebrated on their home floor. Out west, Oklahoma City and San Antonio are both legitimate title threats, which matters if this run goes all the way to June. Nothing about this will be easy. The difference is that Philadelphia isn't just hovering on the edge of the title picture anymore, hoping to sneak in. This time, nobody's asking LeBron to pull off a miracle by himself. Unlike his final years in Los Angeles, he doesn't have to be the engine that keeps the entire operation running. He gets to be the piece that raises the ceiling on a roster that's already loaded. If it all comes together, this could be the most dangerous team in the East. Credit is also due for the choice itself, because Philadelphia was the boldest option on the table, not just because it gave him a genuine shot to win, but because it came with the most risk attached. He walked into one of the toughest sports markets in the country, a city that's waited more than 4 decades for another NBA championship, a fan base that scrutinizes every star who comes through, and a franchise still shaped by the near misses of Embiid, Iverson, Charles Barkley, and Dr. J. Philadelphia doesn't reward hype for its own sake. It wants results, and it lets you know when those results don't show up. The easier paths were sitting right there. Returning to Cleveland would have reunited him with a contender built around Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley, bringing his career full circle just miles from Akron. Miami made sense too. Teaming up again with Eric Spoelstra alongside Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bam Adebayo would have created an instant contender as well. He looked at all of it and still chose Philadelphia, a place that's humbled plenty of stars who couldn't match its intensity. That's what makes this so compelling. And it's worth remembering, every stop of his career has ended in a championship. Cleveland, Miami, Los Angeles. The expectation now is that he does it again here, and that expectation is exactly why the pressure is so significant. People around the league say retirement was genuinely on the table once the Lakers season ended. He knew he could still play at a high level, he had just proven that to everyone, but he wasn't certain he still wanted everything that comes with another season, the training, the conditioning, the daily grind. So he took his time and weighed every option. Once the Brown trade went through, the Sixers became impossible to pass up. Whether he knew immediately or arrived at the decision more recently, he understood exactly what he was signing up for. The ceiling in Philadelphia is probably higher than anywhere else, and so is the pressure. If this works, if there's finally a championship parade down Broad Street, LeBron adds a 5th ring, joins Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, and Tim Duncan in that club, and writes about as strong a final chapter as anyone could script for a career already considered among the greatest of all time. So how much did one signing actually shift things? The betting markets answered almost immediately. At the start of the offseason, Philadelphia's title odds sat around plus 6,000. After the Brown trade, that shortened to roughly plus 2,200. Then LeBron signed, and within hours, the Sixers jumped again, settling around plus 900 at most sportsbooks, dead even with the defending champion Knicks for the best odds in the East. They leapfrogged both Celtics and Miami in the process, and according to BetMGM, more money has come in on the Sixers to win the conference than any other team since the news broke. Vegas is sending a clear signal that Philadelphia belongs in the title conversation now. So does this actually change everything? I think it does, just maybe not for the reason most people assume. This roster was already good enough to compete. LeBron is the piece that makes it dangerous. His playmaking, his leadership, his ability to steady a game when things tighten up late in games, that gives Philadelphia something it's never really had in the Embiid era: stability. And if Embiid stays healthy, the ceiling shifts from contender to the team everyone else in the East has to figure out how to beat. The bigger point is that the Sixers no longer have to spend another season hoping one player survives all the way to June in one piece. They finally built enough depth to absorb a setback and keep standing instead of collapsing the moment something goes wrong. For a franchise that's lived through nearly every version of the worst-case scenario, that's a meaningful shift. All right, I want to hear from you. Did the Sixers just become the favorites in the East, or is there still one flaw standing between them and a title? Drop your take in the comments and let me know. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.